I am counting down the days until September 13th because we have got some big fun coming, and tickets for this big fun are going fast. We're having a parenting conference in Nashville, our first ever parenting conference that we're getting to put on that's called Raising Capable Kids. Y'all, we have the most amazing people who are going to be on the stage with us. We have Nero Feliciano, we have Megan Mickelson of Birds and Bees, we have Joey Odom of RO, we have Melissa Trevathan, our dear friend and the founding director of Daystar, we have Dr. Chinwe Williams, so many wise, trusted voices of ours, so much goodness, so much fun. Make plans now. Get your tickets quickly and come to Nashville on September 13th for Raising Capable Kids. Hey friends, welcome to the Raising Boys and Girls podcast. I'm Sissy Goff.
And I'm David Thomas, and we're so glad you've joined us for this conversation. Let's dive in.
In the summer months, not only am I the director of our little summer camp program called Hopetown, I'm also the worship leader and worship music chooser for kids in 2nd through 12th grades. And let me tell you, as a therapist for kids for over 30 years, I am very choosy when it comes to the lyrics that these kids sing. They are kids who have known heartache, who have experienced loss of all shapes and sizes, trauma, anxiety, depression, and more. They're kids who have questioned whether God loves them in the midst of their pain, whether He cares and is still for them and for their families. And so I desperately want the words we sing each night to be truth. And not just truth that glosses over their hurt, but truth that seeps into it and points them toward the one who is in the midst of the hurt with them and longs for their healing. There's truly no one I trust more to speak words of life and healing through worship than the 3 women who are on our podcast today and the bands they represent. I am delighted for you to listen to the wisdom of our friends, Sandra McCracken, Leslie Jordan, and Taylor Leonhardt. Download their music individually and together as Paper Horses and Mission House Music, along with Jess Ray. We promise you will be so very glad you did and very glad you listened to this episode with these wise, amazing, dear friends of ours. And Taylor, I mean, we talked a little bit in the summer, but I didn't realize you were from the Texas Hill Country. But yeah, what has that been like? And
yeah, that's it. Well, no one that I know no one that I know was directly affected. So other than it just, I think it hit me just because it just being from there.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I grew up on that river summer camping in that place. Mm-hmm. Like we talked about you too. And so I think it was just a surreal thing to sort of watch from far away, being here and watching all that going on.
Yeah.
Just an unthinkable thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does it seem like that's fallen out of the news cycle faster?
Oh, absolutely. There's a few things that are bumping it out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
True, but
yeah.
Seemed like a lot of good coverage and then just like,
I know. I'm curious
how
things are going down there. Have you heard anything?
I think it's probably, I would guess, I don't know what you know, Sissy, but I would just guess there's going to be a ton of really recovery and relief effort. And
and a lot of new systems in place. I talked to Stephen Purcell yesterday and he said the Frio is in a kind of not in the same risk situation.
Yes.
So they haven't had like new policies or anything there, but the Guadalupe is more volatile.
I had no idea.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I spent 6 summers next to Mystic.
Wow.
My camp was next to it.
Wow.
And I just didn't know. I forgot to say, we sang More Precious Than Gold. It was our new song this summer, and we sang it over and over at Hopetown. It was the
so
sweetest. And I think, a couple of things. One is after the flood, but also we had one camp where we had, I think, 5 Covenant kids. And to sing that with them, I mean, it just was so powerful. So I was very grateful.
Oh, man.
Very, very
thanks
grateful.
That's such an honor. And I love that. And I know that means a lot to Jess, too, just knowing there are a room full of kids singing this song. How cool is that?
Yeah, will you tell her?
Oh,
So sweet.
Yeah. Well, and we sing y'all stuff, too. A lot.
Yeah.
thank you all for saying yes to this.
I know.
We're so grateful.
And I got to see you all perform as Paper Horses, which is so fun at your show. Pace and I came
at Third and Lindsley.
Years ago. I have no idea.
Yes.
And I feel like you and I was like,
yeah, I caught eyes with you. I was like,
no,
that was fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, all the iterations of your all's music, we just are huge fans of, individually, together as Paper Horses, Mission House, all the things. And would be really fun to start off talking about how you each found your way to music, because I don't know that, I feel like we know a lot more getting to have a conversation with you before, but it would be fun just to hear that part of your stories.
Yeah. Love it. Taylor, you want to kick it off?
Sure. Well, I was, I grew up in Texas and, kind of stole my dad's guitar in middle school and just tried my best to learn things in the age of, didn't have really YouTube yet, but you could play your favorite songs and then just look up the chart, look up the tabs, the chart, the tabs. Ultimate Guitar. .com. And I did a lot of that. And then it stayed that way. I started writing songs maybe at the end of high school and college, but I always thought music would just be a hobby for me. And then, so it's kind of surprised me that I get to do this for my job. And I sort of stumbled into it through doing church music and working for churches as their sort of music director, music person. And all of a sudden, it seemed like, there were people who wanted to hear the songs I was writing. And then I just kind of that's what I really wanted to do. And I think at the time when I had that moment of I think I want to do music, I was in grad school to be a second grade teacher. And I thought, I don't think I'm going to be a second grade teacher, but I will be, hopefully. Yeah. Maybe I'll put some albums out. So, yeah, it's been a surprise to me and a really fun one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, still doing it. Yeah, that was a while ago. So, pretty cool. So what about you, Leslie?
Yeah, I mean, similarly, I think my aunt played guitar, and I got really curious.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in East Tennessee, Johnson City.
Okay.
Nobody in my family was really musical, so it just sort of happened. I played the violin first. Very, very poorly. Yes, started writing songs in middle school to get through a lot of those teenage angsty years.
Yes.
It was very therapeutic for me. And fell into church music in high school, started going to youth group, and they were like, you play the guitar and you sing? Great, you're the new worship leader.
Wow.
So started doing that in high school and through college. And yeah, I mean, I think it's always been that sort of, there's an ebb and flow for me with music. It can feel like a love-hate thing sometimes, because sometimes the nozzle's all the way on and creativity happens and you're like, I'll never not do this thing. And then there's time where it dries up and you're like, I'm probably never going to do that again. And but I think that's just the creative process I've learned now that I'm 40, that comes and goes. But yeah, I'm super grateful that, like Taylor said, that music has just been a part of my life for as long as it's been, and for the opportunities I've had because of it. Yeah.
It's kind of fun to hear each of you, but I would say almost a very similar story, which is funny that we all became friends at some point, in this journey. But started writing songs in middle school and trying to make sense of the world and how I was feeling, and they were really moody, introspective songs. You would not want to hear them, but
there's just as the president of the fan club.
Yeah.
So I think that and I didn't think I wanted to be a teacher. I thought I would probably do that. It was too early to really put any work into that yet, but I do think it is one foot in front of the next to do a creative job where there's not a lot of structure to it. And then you start, moving toward that a little bit at a time, and you figure out what structure do you need to make this a living. And as you chase that, you begin to find you're standing on some solid ground. Like you could make a life of this. And more than ever in some ways, there's so many young songwriters moving to Nashville. There's so many ways of making a living that are not really about success in some of those monetary terms, but there's a good living out there with creative work. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of these two. And I think when there's community alongside of it, it is, it's like a double joy, because you just get to really love your job.
Yeah.
As you guys know, I'm sure with your work too.
You know what's so funny? I just remembered this as you were talking. I don't know that we've ever said this out loud to you, but the first time I think we met you, I know I saw you because I can picture where you were sitting in the room when we spoke at a Porter's Call parenting
Oh my
thing.
goodness, I remember that.
And I didn't know it was you.
I probably still have my notes from because I remember that. Yes.
We drove away, and I think you said, "Did you know that was Sandra McCracken?" And I was like, "I'm so glad I didn't. I would have been so intimidated."
No way.
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
Wow. No,
I remember so well.
That's okay.
wild.
The first time I met Sandra, I was so nervous that I just said, I like your boots. That's all I could think of. Say.
Somebody please change the subject.
Listen, if we're going down this train, I got a story. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you.
That's so good.
That's really great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, I remember that at that workshop, you all were talking about just some of the logistics and nuts and bolts of like trying to live you were talking about parenting, but you were also just talking about like healthy practices of being a human. And if you're on the road and you come home, like I remember one thing you said that day, which was try not to have house guests within 24 hours of when you get home from a tour.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember saying that?
No.
It was like, oh, that just went in my brain. Is like, we're putting that in the hopper. That's going to be a new thing. And of course you can be flexible, but something like when you're moving in and out of these spaces, like those kinds of little things that apply to so many different fields of life. Anyway, so thanks. I remember.
Well, that's great.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking as you are all three sharing those stories, like as has been shared, we are so incredibly grateful you all found your way to the work you're doing. Like you're in the company of two people who are really, really grateful. And a lot of folks listening would say the same. So it's so fun to have this conversation. And this is part of our Music City series. And we'd love to ask you, was there a band or artist, record, or song that you would say really shaped you in your growing up? And why?
Oh, I wish we could say mixtapes because there were so many.
I was gonna say,
I was
You
had
can with us.
multiple artists, and somebody would make a mixtape that had stuff that they said, you would love this. I love this. You would love this.
Yeah.
There are ways of people doing that now, but that's the first thing that comes to mind is things that were on a mixtape. Did you guys have a full album or artist?
I was just thinking about this the other day, going back in I think I was texting you about The Crucible, Sandra's first record.
Oh my God.
And this is going to be embarrass Sandra for a moment. But when I was 18, somebody gave me that record. I was like, I didn't know you could write music like this. And and there was something that was so accessible about it to me. I loved it so much. So anyway, I think I was like going back and thinking about that question. This was like a week or two ago. And I was like, there were so many moments in my life where I had like a song or a record, like, and I can remember specifically, like, I was such an emotional kid. I remember doing puzzles in my basement with my lava lamp, listening to Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill.
That's so good.
That's not the most Leslie.
Right. And feeling everything, and oh man, it was so intense. And but I grew up listening. My parents listened to oldies music, so like, and Laurel Canyon stuff. Like we listened to a lot of Joni Mitchell and James Taylor, and so I grew up in a really eclectic music house. That it was never anything I like honed in on. I was like, this is the record. But that was probably the time I started listening to records. My older brother he had great taste in music, and so he introduced me to a lot of cool bands. I listened to the Cranberries because of him, and Guster. Did you ever listen to Guster?
They're coming back. Yeah,
I
like
know.
everyone's listening to it again.
I know. Well, the
teenagers.
90s are back. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is a hard question to answer because you're like, there's so many things that have shaped me musically. Yeah. But I will say, if you haven't listened to the Sandra McCracken record, specifically the song Sunday Morning, still in my top 5 songs of all time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
you.
I'm thinking of a movie called Elizabethtown that had like Cameron Crowe and incredible soundtrack.
Yeah.
But that really, I remember watching that movie and hearing Patty Griffin's Long Ride Home. And I had never heard her before. And I think it just honestly did change my life because I was like, whoever is singing, and I looked it up and I like got the soundtrack. And then I was like, well, now I just need every album by Patty Griffin, which I promptly, got. And then I just was like, oh man, her voice and her guitar playing and the way she told stories, I did think captured my imagination in sort of a unique way. And then like, you know, you find one artist like that, and now you're all of a sudden, you know, you're finding all the other people in that world in this like beautiful kind of Americana songwriter world that now I'm like, oh my gosh, that totally shaped me. And I still think like Patty Griffin, who's actually releasing music again now, but she has this unique ability that I haven't quite, I'd like to try more even now, but just where she can become someone else in her songs. She's almost like Meryl Streep, where she sort of disappears and all of a sudden she's like an old man, you know, to his wife or something like that, which I've tended to write more from my own perspective or here's what I'm feeling or thinking about or seeing or noticing, but she's kind of inhabiting all these different people, and I think that's so cool, fascinating.
It's really neat. Like I think about different time periods. You could think about what influenced you at different time periods. But as you guys were talking, I thought about, this is kind of random, but we had the laundry in the basement. And so I listened to a lot of the music that my older siblings would listen to because I'm the youngest. So we had the Eagles' greatest hits with like the cover with the skull, you know, and I was a little creeped out by that. But man, every song I was like, what is this? So I have this memory of, we had a swing in the basement when it was raining and whatever, and my mom was doing laundry. And I remember like I'd watch the light switch and the light on the light switch and just listen to the Eagles record and Jackson Browne and those songs. And I remember thinking like, what is this about? There's songs about like betrayal and about love and about longing. And I just remember being totally captured by the harmonies. And then I didn't listen to it all growing up, but then probably found it again around college and was just like, oh, this is in there. Like this kind, like liking things about this music have been so much a part of me without even without drawing attention to it, you know, for so many years. So I think about that era of like kind of country rock, which was pop music even in that time. And especially for my older siblings.
Sure. And now we're going to take a little break to hear from one of our sponsors who makes this podcast possible. David, summer is winding down, and I am not sad to see it leave. It has been 200 degrees here in the South.
I am ready for fall weather, but I'm going to miss the long, slow days of summer, as is my school teacher wife. But I know a way to keep the fun going through the back-to-school season.
How?
With hands-on educational fun from KiwiCo. With science, technology, engineering, art, and math, STEM projects delivered right to your door, kids of any age can explore their curiosity and build critical thinking skills through the power of play.
I love KiwiCo. My nephews get so excited when their new box gets delivered. Whit just got the Koala Crate, which helps little scientists discover the world around them through pretend play.
KiwiCo helps kids transition back to learning after summer, keeping their minds active and engaged outside of screen time.
Parents are always looking for ways to supplement classroom learning and spark a deeper love for science, art, and innovation. KiwiCo crates are a perfect solution.
The quality is amazing, delivery right to your front door, no screens. Tinker, create, and innovate with KiwiCo.
Get up to 50% off your first crate at KiwiCo.com, promo code RBG.
That's up to 50% off your first crate at KiwiCo.com, promo code RBG.
David, is June still waking up at the crack of dawn?
Yes. I have told her she has got to cut out that nonsense. She's paying me no attention. I'm only awake right now thanks to Everyday Dose. Everyday Dose has the classic coffee taste you love without the nasty side effects, plus added benefits, no crash and no jitters.
Just clean, sustained energy. Coffee Plus is a mild roast, light and smooth. Low acidity, which is easy on sensitive stomachs. Mellow energy.
Coffee Plus Bold is a rich blend of medium roast, 100% Arabica coffee, robust and full-bodied yet smooth, extra boost of energy.
Both are 100% Arabica coffee, have functional benefits, and are mold-free. Everyday Dose does third-party testing.
Get 45% off your first subscription order of 30 servings of Coffee Plus or Bold Plus. You'll also receive a starter kit with over $100 in free gifts, including a rechargeable frother and gunmetal serving spoon, by going to everydaydose.com/RBG or entering RBG at checkout. You'll also get free gifts throughout the year.
That's everydaydose.com/RBG for 45% off your first order. And now back to our show. Can I throw in a bonus question?
Yeah.
Our next series is going to be on the Enneagram.
Cool.
And would love to know as you're talking.
A little nod.
I know yours because you said something to me that I won't ever forget about your Enneagram number. That's been super helpful to me as I counsel kids who are that number. But would love for you still to share. And will you all share what your numbers are, just out of curiosity, as we're moving into all that?
Or
I'm a 6.
Are you?
I am.
Okay.
The definition of a 6.
Yeah, your picture's in the book.
They are, yeah, when you look at it. Right there.
I won't give a complicated answer. I already am giving one.
Yeah, no.
But I thought I was a 4. That was the last thing I thought I was. But now I've been thinking maybe I'm a 7 on the Enneagram. And I'm trying that out. I don't even know if I'm
trying it out.
I
like that about
great
the
one
Enneagram.
to try out.
I'm like, maybe that I've had a hard time fitting into one. And
Enneagram fluid.
this one, it would explain some of my shortcomings. It would explain some of my troubles in the world. So I'm like, there might be something to that. We'll see. But I got a strong 6 wing, so Leslie and I really connect on emergency preparedness.
Yeah, that's great.
That's good when y'all are all out together.
Exactly. I'm like, but did you think about this? And she's like, I've already got it covered.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, Taylor's already found all the best places to eat for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
Depending on what city we're in.
Seven-ish.
It's very
There you
seven.
go.
Yes.
Yes. To me, the best hangs always like you go home having planned a vacation together.
You go home
Planning the next
from the vacation.
Yeah, like I had a co-write with Ellie Holcomb and Case and Cooley, 2 other Enneagram 7s. And we left with like 3 vacation ideas.
Yeah.
We went to an amazing lunch. You know, like it was just sort of like we were all coming in with this kind of like, what is the most we could do?
Yeah, that
anyway.
sounds true.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I see that.
Anyway, that's a fun detour.
Well, yeah, thank you for answering that. Okay, so y'all have done amazing things together individually. Do y'all have a what in the world kind of moment? Like, how did we get here? How's this happening? Either separately or together?
In terms of Paper Horses, we've done some live shows and when we record in the studio, there is something that is like a multiplication factor of singing unison together, like singing on either one mic or separate mics in the same room and trying to match all the sounds that we're making.
Mm-hmm.
It is it's just like kind of gives you like electricity because there's something about, you're so in this business and in this job that we're doing, you're so often thinking about your own song and your voice and the expression of it. But this is kind of like a choir, but not exactly. You're trying to match the timbre, the mood, the consonants, and all those things. And it's really fun. So we've done a little bit of that, and even in a live setting, and it's pretty thrilling. Yeah.
I've loved that. It hasn't really been a strategic thing. It wasn't like we were like, man, let's try to like jump on a trend of some kind, and do this Paper Horses thing. In fact, I mean, all of us have enough going on in our lives. It's not necessarily like the most convenient thing to just have, but I think it really did come out of this one, we wrote the song together, and I think there was like a little spark, and there was like friendship and laughter, and kind of like, could we just come up with a bunch more reasons to like be in the room all together?
Which song?
That was in everything. In everything.
Yeah, I will say that there's sort of a manifesting, speaking things out, visualizing, praying for this to happen.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things have happened in my life a lot, where it's like, I originally, this is so random, but after coming off the road in 2016 and sort of like going through this, what's next for my life. And, my husband was kind of thinking the same things. And I remember somebody sent me Jess's song, Runaway. And so then I started looking her up and I was like, oh, she's in Raleigh. That's so cool. And then Andrew Osinga sent me Taylor's music and then told me they were in a band together and asked if they could come on a retreat I was leading that Sandra was going to be at. And so it was all these little stars that aligned.
Wow.
And because I remember even saying to my husband, I was like, should we just go to, like, there's something cool happening in Raleigh. Should we go to Raleigh? And then we all get to know each other. And, you know, I got to go to North Carolina, where we wrote for Mission House.
Yeah, North Carolina.
And we got to hang out for a week. And I was just jokingly like, you guys need another member of Mission House? I had just been in a band and said, like, I'll never be in a band again. And I was like, but maybe I'll be in that band. And so it felt like this just really natural, beautiful friendship. And also, like, speaking of manifesting, there was, you know, back when I was with All Sons and Daughters, we had a list of who do you want to write with? Who are the people you like? And I've kind of always been that way of like, I think if you can dream it, you can do it. I'm sort of an optimist in that way, which goes against the Enneagram 6 part of me that's like, nothing will ever work out in my favor. That voice is still very loud. But but there is that part of me that goes, oh, I think it's possible. And Sandra was like at the top of that list for me. This is probably 2013, so 12 years ago. And, you know, the first time we wrote together was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm writing a song with Sandra. And then we became friends. God. Yeah, Almighty God. And so it's just been a lot of that for me. And I pinch myself anytime we're together, and very thankful that we tried to write a song for Mission House that didn't go on a Mission House record that we all ended up making. I think the worst song. And
and then we've written, and since the last one came out, we got together to more intentionally write for this project and have a new batch of songs that are not out yet. But it's just like the free flow of that has been just because it's almost like because of the limits of time and other things we have going on, we're just like, it's just been really neat to see. It just flows right through that space that we give it, you know?
Awesome. Does that mean there's something coming out?
Yeah, so there'll be something new. I don't have a date or anything for you yet, but it was really, I think just the creative spark is something we want to steward and keep up with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we kind of, we had like a little handful of songs that we haven't put out yet that we will. And what's cool about this, you know, the first batch of songs we recorded together that is out, it was sort of like, okay, you've got an extra song here, you've got an extra song here, here's one we all wrote together. But these newer ones, we all even were a part of writing them together kind of from the beginning, which I think too, it's just a special thing. And learning how to do that and listen. And I'm just like loving listening to this whole thing because even thinking like, okay, Leslie's like, oh, he'd love to write with Sandra. And then Sandra came on your Poets and Saints tour, 2016.
Yeah.
And you guys came to Raleigh, North Carolina, where we had not met yet. And I was just like in the, fifth row at this concert going like, I love these women so much. And they're friends and playing music together. How cool. And then just like how funny it is that you're like, yeah, how did I get here? And I think you always have that when you look, you find yourself in those moments like, oh yeah, how did I land right here? I don't know. And you kind of, so even that sitting here has been like tracing some of those threads back. And I do not know how that works. And just the, the kindness of God that when you kind of go like, oh, you are just managing a lot of things at the same time and weaving things together in such a cool way that if I had just gotten everything I had wanted the way I asked for it, the way I wanted, I would pick this one.
The story wouldn't be as cool.
I'd pick this story,
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
It's cool.
We were hoping you all would tell the story of how Paper Horses came together. So I love that in talking you did. And I'm curious to ask you as a follow-up, like, what do you hope people will find in your music?
I think the part of me that goes, there's music being released every day, like so much music. The world is so saturated with music.
Yeah.
One thing that I think is unique about what we're doing is, and people say this to us, you can hear the friendship in it. And so I think that is what's special about what we're doing. There's nothing musically that's different from what other people are putting out. There's nothing, the songs are great. They're saying a lot of the same things, but like the difference is the relationships that we have with each other and the time we spend together. And I mean, I'm not saying the music's bad. I think it's good.
Music's amazing.
I don't know. That's pretty cool.
Incredible.
But I think it's the relationship is what elevate them to me, what elevates the music. So that's what it is for me, what I hope people gather from it.
It's so good. We saw some ladies sitting out having lunch just earlier today.
Yeah, we did.
They like had a picnic, and they're 20 years older than us, and we were like, "That's gonna be it."
Yeah,
20
years.
do that, But I think that is. I think there's this like a hope for that, and I think being able to. There's some freedom in it because we're independent. Because we. I think it all emerged from songwriting, both the connections between us and the songs are leading some of that in terms of what would we make and how would we present what we've made, and those choices are all kind of like, because it's not coming through a major marketing machine, it's just, you're going to maybe hear that, I think. And that's more common in today. Like when you pull up Spotify, there's just going to be so many things that are made independent. And so we're not the only ones doing that, but we hope that, I think that there's, that it can have that kind of purity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think, there's no, I don't know about you guys, but it's like, I don't necessarily have this thought, like, we're going to be huge. And our trajectory is to get to, we're like headlining Red Rocks or something. I mean, listen, Red Rocks, if you're listening.
If you're on
But I think that it's more like, I do love that thing that there's like, it feels like there's a song for everybody. And I still really enjoy listening to music and being a fan of music. And still I have like maybe just last week of like finding this album that an artist I had never heard before, just kind of nerding out about it and going. So I just think it's so touching to me knowing that there are people who will have that kind of experience with songs we wrote and recorded together. And like, it might not be a hit song, but it will be like a hit song to someone. And just
absolutely,
we get the, we don't play a lot of shows together. That's something I hope that we could keep doing when we can find time. But that has been a sweet thing, is just to meet people out on the road. Even when I do solo shows, I know you guys too, it's like people are like, I love the Paper Horses stuff. Can you bring your Paper Horses girls back next time? I'm like, I'm going to work on that. So I think there's something resonating with people, and So, and probably I think if you would, even on the related artist thing, like probably we're connected enough even before the band that I think people are like, how is it that 4 people I already listened to are now making music together? So there's like a unique kind of thing.
Yeah. I remember how excited I was when I stumbled onto it and was like, wait, all 4 of you?
Pretty cool. It's really fun.
I think it's fun. It's fueled by our excitement in that too, where we kind of all pinch ourselves and go like,
yes,
these are like some of my favorite people on the planet, and I get to write songs with them and make music with them because we want to, not because anyone's asked us to or made us or paid us to do it. It was just like, and I think that translates, for people.
And that little tour run we did, which was just like all girls in a van.
So great.
Was kind of that was a different thing too.
It was so different.
The number of times we've all piloted in a van with like,
a bunch of boys.
It just felt like a different thing.
This was so fun.
That's true.
And now a quick break to hear from one of our incredible sponsors who make the podcast available.
David, I get sad every year when our Music City series winds up. Can you believe all the great folks we've spent time with?
It blows my mind every year. And I notice that I sing more in the shower during the Music City series. I guess I think I'm cutting a record myself.
I don't know if you're ever going to get a record deal, but you can keep singing in the shower. And you can feel great about lingering in the shower thanks to one of our sponsors, Jolie. Jolie is a beauty wellness company that purifies the water we shower in for better skin, hair, and overall well-being.
Jolie's filtered showerhead is best in class for removing chlorine and heavy metals. It's the only lab-tested and clinically trialed filtering showerhead on the market.
Clinically proven to reduce hair shedding in 81% of people. Lab-tested to reduce hair frizziness by 40%. Lab-tested to maintain color retention. Lab-tested to protect the hair's surface layer.
Jolie still gives strong water pressure, which is very important to me, and fits all showers as the plumbing pipe size is universal.
Jolie will give you your best skin and hair guaranteed. Head to jolieskinco.com/RBG to try it out for yourself with free shipping.
And if you don't like it, you can return your Jolie for a full refund within 60 days. No questions asked. And now back to the show.
Okay, well, let's switch to your individual music for just a second. And Taylor, we love some of your songs. And your song, Mother's Daughter, our friend Pace sent me. We both lost our moms, and she had boohooed over it, and then I did too. And just love that song so much. And we talk a lot about mothers and daughters on here. And I typically have a lot to say about mothers and daughters because that's such a unique relationship.
Yeah.
Would love for you to talk about what inspired it and what you hope folks glean from it.
Yeah. Wow.
Listen.
Thank you for that. I love that song so much. And I my mom, ever since I said, okay, I'm a songwriter, this is what I'm going to do. And she really was waiting for her song. She's like, when do I get my song? Every little thing I'd put out, she'd be like, do I get a song on this one? You know? And my mom's, you would love her. She's real fun. She's like a tiny little wonderful lady, strong woman from Texas. And just always taught me to be independent. But growing up, we, two strong female leads in one little house meant that sometimes things were just, there was a lot of misunderstanding, I think, and we had a pretty rocky relationship for most of my adolescence. And, we had some real knockdown dragouts. And I didn't know how, I didn't know how to write a song about her because I knew it probably wouldn't be like, you're the wind beneath my wings, or like butterfly kisses. You're right. I was like, how do I do it? So I wanted to write something that kind of started to name something that I noticed that was happening as I was getting older, and something even that I still feel now, which is that I think there's a lot of good in kind of naming and owning the ways you've been wounded in your childhood and all of those things, and all the ways that maybe you didn't get the thing that you needed the most. Mm-hmm. But then there's also so much goodness in realizing that maybe at some point you've kind of decided to set that down a little bit and let this person be who they are. And I feel like she has done that for me. Mm-hmm. And more in my grown adulthood, that she's really let me be who I am. And so there's just kind of this growing softness between us. Mm-hmm. And I think even realizing like some of that stuff that caused so much friction also made me tough and strong and able to sort of live the life that I'm living now. So I guess I wanted to write that song to sort of honor, this was the real story. It wasn't all like roses, And I think we're still on the trajectory of like allowing each other to be ourselves, and we don't get it right still, but I think we're headed somewhere, and that's what I feel like I wanted. I hope that song. I love meeting people and seeing at shows and stuff, and mothers and daughters, and then being like, "This is our song," because it's like, oh man, like it's a sacred thing. I think that being a daughter,
Yep.
The story that so many of us live in our unique ways.
But I'm so grateful for where you go with it, because I think we would both say as therapists, it feels less and less like we're living in a world where we can lay those things down and say, I'm going to let you be you, and I'm going to, this is what it was, and how can we love each other still? And so I just am so grateful that that's the message in it.
It was so sort important. Of, if I can jump in, it's genius, because by the time you get to the bridge, you realize that the strength of the song is that it's moving both directions. It's not just, this was one. Yeah, it moves both directions. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what is like kind of startles you, because you realize we're all trying to work this thing out.
Yes.
So that feels really honest. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay, Leslie. Yeah. You talked a little bit earlier about being a part of All Sons and Daughters, and then you've had this incredible career as a solo artist too, and you recently released a project that's really personal. So will you talk about that project and what it was like to make that?
Yeah. I just put out a record in April called The Agonist, and it's all the songs are adapted from writing from my grandfather, my mom's dad. We didn't know him. He left when my mom was 4, and died in 1995. So I would have been 10. She didn't talk about him much, but as I got older, the story started to, open up to me a little bit. She started telling me more of it. And there were a few correspondences with him throughout her life. But when he died, his sister went to California and said, "Do you have anything?" She called my mom and she said, "Is there anything of your dad's you would like?" My mom was like, "I didn't really know him, but at one point I think he mentioned he wrote a poem for me. Can you just see if there's anything in writing?" And a month later, a box full of journals showed up on her doorstep, and poetry and short stories. And he was like in the 50s, wanted to be a beatnik poet, Jack Kerouac on the road. So
Wow.
his writing style is very similar to that, if you've ever read any of that sort of poetry. And about 8 or 9 years ago, she photocopied all of his poetry for me. And reading through that, started to conceptualize a project. And originally, she had been writing a memoir, and I thought I wanted to write songs that sort of helped tell her story. But she had a really hard time unraveling hers from his. And so the more we talked, I wondered if kind of telling his story would even help her. And I think it has. It's sort of been this obstacle in her way. And so she feels a little bit more like there's time now for her to tell her story. His story is sort of told. And so all the songs are songs adapted from pieces of his writing.
Wow.
It's a complicated story. He was a complicated person, lonely, in recovery. He spent a lot of the last years of his life alone, and it's sad. It's a sad story, but it's a universal American tale, honestly. There's a lot to it that felt familiar, and when I share the stories, I always have people come up to me and say there's something that connected with them or the person in their family or their parents or several older folks, my mom's generation, who said, "I have a box of my family's writing,"
Wow.
And I think about the power of journaling, and it's something that I've done my whole life. And also there's like a little bit of nerves there going like, what's my son going to find in my journal?
Right.
But the gift that it was to my mom, for her to like sort of piece her life back together and understand a little bit about him. So it's been a really eye-opening and long, beautiful process. Sandra and Taylor both helped me write some songs on the record, and that was fun. Was like bringing other folks into it, because I could have just sat with his writing, but I honestly felt like I needed an outside perspective to say like, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm hearing, this is what I think I want it to sound like, and then to just have someone who was like emotionally disconnected from the story help tell it was just really beneficial. So honestly, like 2 of my favorite songs on the record, Taylor and I wrote Loved Me for a Little While, which was about my grandparents and their story. And then Sandra and I, 2 songs, The Fight and then Elegy, which I just think anytime I listen to that song, I'm like, oh, just breaks my heart wide open. So yeah, thankful for their voices on the project, and I got to do it.
The Fight that you and Sandra wrote was the first song I heard when you had started recording it. And I thought, oh my gosh. I mean, that's an incredible song. And the way you captured it.
Yeah, it's cinematic. I mean, a lot of the whole project is just like you're seeing a movie, but I mean, a real movie.
Yeah. Thanks.
Well, Sandra, we've talked about your music before. We could talk about it the whole time. I think all of us could talk about it for a really long time.
True.
But we want to talk about this too. You have your first children's book that you wrote with Tim, your husband, called The Maker of the Mountain. And we love the subtitle, A Story About What God Is Like. Will you talk about what it was like to write a children's book with him and what it's been like releasing that into the world?
Well, it was something that I love children's books. So something that I've sort of dreamed about in the background, and Tim and I both did talk about that. Some of our favorites and what are the classics and where the wild things are, and just, all these things that just very few words that say a lot of things. And then this particular idea came up from a conversation that I had with my son. We were actually bored and waiting for an appointment, and we were sitting outside. We were actually waiting for a sibling's appointment. So we were sitting outside, like on the ground at a playground, and started talking about things. And he was probably maybe 3. And so we were playing with rocks, and then had this whole conversation, and was like, I said, "You know what, Sam, God is like a rock." And he's like, "Really?" Like, so this dialogue unfolds. And I started thinking, and then his questions were so profound. And then to think God reveals himself to us in very physical ways, in metaphors that they're probably, to be honest, they're more than metaphors, but we don't really understand all the mystery of that. But when God says, like, I'm like a rock, and what does that mean? And so to talk about that with a 3-year-old was like, it just opened something up for me. And then I just wanted to look for more ways to explore that. What are the other ways we could learn about? Because the idea to learn about God, which is such an abstract concept and hard to conceptualize or talk about with a young child, but in some ways it's easier than if I haven't had a bunch of theological training, but if you had a whole bunch of seminary training, it would be the same questions you'd be asking at the end of it. It's like, is God really like a rock? It's like all through the story of people as they explore faith. So anyway, it was and then we really just talked about the story for so long before it was on the written page, and talked about where are the other images? What has God said to us about who he is, which is like the vine and the gate, and so just all the images in there, trying to find as many as we could find that he has told us, here or there, in Scripture. So
it's beautiful.
It really is.
Yeah.
Thanks. So, and then all the nature themes, Tim and I are both really would love to tell a story that gets not only our kids out and ourselves out, but that's something all of us share too. It's just like, how do we experience faith in the natural world, which is our first invitation to it, really. Is like, God is the maker. And does he want to know us in that? And how does he meet us in that? And I love John Denver's Country Roads and, Rocky Mountain High, because it's like some of these songs that we just borrow from here or there remind me of how God is already trying to really get our attention through the beauty of what he's made. And so I think it's a doorway we like to walk into. So.
Yeah. Oh.
Or out of, I should say.
Yeah.
Okay, where can folks find all the amazing things that you 3 are putting out in the world?
Well, probably a Google search.
Yeah. I wish I had like a little,
I know,
like a little store, I could say, instead of the internet. The internet. Yeah.
The internet.
It'd be cool if there's
social media. We're all somewhat on.
Yeah, I think
those channels.
Yeah, if you go to Paper
Instagram,
Horses Music, you can find all 4 of us that way.
Yeah. We have a website, Paper Horses Music.
Yeah, we
right?
do. Yeah, I think so.
HTTP.
If we paid for it.
Something like that.
If we paid to renew it.
Yeah, I think we've got that going on. Yeah. But we have an email list.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
need to get on that.
Yeah. We don't send very many emails. So
we should do that.
It's a safe one to join.
Yeah.
I unsubscribe from an email list almost every single day, so I get it. But yeah, there's lots of ways if you want to know. And then our music is all individually and together is on anywhere you could probably listen to music. Yep. So Spotify, Apple,
Deezer.
Whoa, that's one.
I'm just saying, when you go to distribute your music, it's like, do you want to distribute to all these?
You find out how many there are.
I'm like, what is Deezer?
Yeah, if you're an audiophile, we're on Tidal probably.
We're on Tidal.
We're on all those things. Yeah. We're on the Pandora.
Yeah. That's still
That was not a concise answer. You want us to edit another one? Yeah. Take 2. Paper Horses Music.
We're honored that you would even type our names into your search.
True.
Thank you.
We'll link to all
that
the
is
things.
true.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Well, we love to end every episode with something fun and food related. We normally talk tacos, but we already have done that with you. So instead, do y'all have a favorite family meal, either growing up or something you like to cook now, that you would each say?
Currently, because we just got back from our family, we were trying new things because we were living overseas in the UK for a little while. And everybody, the crowd pleaser, most people in our family like different things. Let's just say no one can agree on what we like. But everybody liked bangers and mash, which is like mashed potatoes and sausages that are like mild sauce. And you put gravy, like in England, they'll like advertise, all you can eat gravy. which is interesting. I was like, but they really major in the gravy, but it's delicious and easy.
Just gravy is all you can eat?
If you like, bottomless gravy.
Bottomless gravy.
What does that even mean?
Wow.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. You can.
That sounds very American.
Bangers and mash.
It does. Bangers and mash. So that's a crowd pleaser.
I think you can get that on Broadway
with it or
too.
something.
No. Bottomless gravy.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, growing up, I mean, this isn't but we always went to this place in Houston called Neat Fuzz.
Oh,
Remember Neat
yes.
Yes, I've been there.
And they had this kind of like
In Houston.
unnaturally green sauce.
Yes.
The green sauce.
Yes.
And I still dream about eating chips and tortillas with like Neat Fuzz green sauce.
Oh.
So I was raised on that, on
Quality.
good old
Tex-Mex.
Tex-Mix.
Good old
That's
Tex-Mex.
right. I know.
I mean,
You are an amazing, Leslie's an amazing cook. Every time I eat at your house, I think I should live here.
There's not anything. If you ask my son, his favorite meal is sushi, which I'm like, we don't make a lot of that. I don't know if we have a staple, but I mean, I did grow up in East Tennessee, so barbecue was a big thing.
Yes.
Oh, bad that.
Red Pig was the place you would go
Red
get.
Pig.
Yeah, you would go get a barbecue sandwich, twice baked potato, and a large sweet tea with lemon.
Oh my god.
So I can't eat that anymore. I'm 40.
It was good then.
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good back then. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
y'all,
great.
thank you.
Yeah,
It is
thanks,
just
guys.
a joy to be with the three of you.
Thanks. You all
Thanks
too.
for having us.
Thank you.
David, what a team we have that we get to call friends who help make this podcast possible. Chris Starrett, our engineer,
Our management team at KCH.
and we are thrilled to be a part of the That Sounds Fun network.
Our music was created by the insanely talented Dave Haywood of Lady A.
And if this podcast felt helpful to you, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, all the things.
We are grateful for you and cheering you on always.